Jacqueline and I had a good debate about it today about Legends cars and all sorts of different things, and definitely in the right place with that team right there. Willie Allen and that group, really bring some incredible equipment to the race everywhere they go.
Dawson Sutton, drivers from Nashville Fairgrounds, competes in the Pro Late Model class, as does the point leader, the 29 of Hunter Wright, came from the Legend cars at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and moved into the Pro Lates just a few years ago, and we've been able to watch him each and every year over the last few years here at the World Series, compete in Pro Lates and Supers, as well as still racing at Nashville. Always a top 5 point contender and a driver that's always a favorite to get into victory lane on those Saturday night 100-lap races in Nashville.
Yeah, that's why we let tractors survive, too.
Exactly.
From the Legends program through the super late models that roll into there and the big ones like the All-American 400. Basically, that is one of the great tracks of that region and a really historic place. And, any of these places here, we need to have an appreciation for them. Smyrna Speedway here, for all the years that this place is run and for all the swings up and down. This place right here, some years you'll have 20 cars, some years you'll have 40-something cars, but this place puts on a show and is something that's very important to motorsports. Hey, I heard that. Did you hear it?
Engines have fired. You see the pink and white checkered flag that Jason Caranci will be using on the starter stand tonight for Heart to Heart Foundation night here at the World Series. But the engines of the Pro Late models have fired. And 100 laps. Last night's 100-lapper for the super late models was very good. Exciting action over the first 50 laps. Plenty of lead changes. And I would expect to see some pretty dicey racing here early on in this Pro Late Model affair because the invert was a 7. It put the 7th fast qualifier, Isabella Robusto, on the pole in the number 28. Robusto, starting on the pole position, has had a stout week. Fort Mill, South Carolina driver at just 20 years of age has been right around the top 5 just about every night except last night when was involved in that big pileup going into turn 1. Second start of the week for Hudson Bolger, the driver from Georgia, just 16 years of age, finished 16th in his first start last night. Jimmy Renford Jr. has had an up and down week. He's been in victory lane a couple of times. One of those was taken away when the engine was deemed to be not within the guidelines of the tech rules a couple nights ago. They've swapped engines since then. He's going to run tonight. He starts 3rd, and he looks to finish his weekend strong. George Phillips in the 8P. That's a talented young driver. I've only seen him race at Speedfest and here, and he's impressed me both times. He won last night. He starts on the outside of row number 2.
Row number 3, the lovely young lady, 16 years old, in her family-owned number 71. Cars Tour Pro Late Model Series most popular driver. It's Katie Hettinger, and to her outside, the point leader from Lebanon, Tennessee, the number 29 of Hunter Wright. Row number 4. We talked about this young man, also from Tennessee, Dawson Sutton in the 26S, and to the outside, it's Nicholas Noggle.
Inside of our next row, Ruben Caceres finished 10th last night in his only start of the week, driving the number 77 from the inside of row 5. R.J. Braun, so close to a victory last night, finished 2nd. Impressive driver that had his best run of the week from Wisconsin on the outside of that row. Mike Swarzelli in the number 18 starts in the 11th spot, and Brandon Lopez in the top 5 for the first time this week in the number 6 to start 12th.
Bringing up the rear of the field here in row 7, Tony Soren in the 29S, and Mike Mayberry from Maine in the number 45 car. Bringing up the rear of the field, the blue and yellow number 24, it is Dalton Smith.
100 laps the distance tonight for the Pro Late Models of the World Series. This week, they've raced 6 times. Jimmy Renfrew won on night 1. Dawson Sutton won on 2, 3, 4, and 6. And George Phillips found victory lane last night. I guess I should say Hunter Wright claimed the win on night 6, as Sutton claimed the 3 wins, Wright 1, and then Phillips. So we've seen pretty good field parity in the Pro Late models, even though Sutton's been able to claim the 3 victories. But again, different car now because his other one was crashed badly, I think they brought a pretty good backup piece to the racetrack.
Yes, they did. Indeed, they did, Adam Mackey. I'm looking at the pole sitter right now, Isabella Robusto. This is a big test. Speed Weeks is a big test. Tonight is a big test for this young lady because last year at Hickory Motor Speedway, she was involved in a very scary crash, and she suffered from post-concussion symptoms for so much of last year. Now returning to the seat of that number 28 Yahoo machine. She was involved in that hard wreck last night, which was also a test for her health and how she handled it. Now she's back in the saddle and on the pole.
She's had a good week. She's been close. One night she made some contact with another competitor going down the backstretch, Billy Braun. He ended up crashing down in turn 3. She had to go to the back. She came through the field, finished in the top 5. It was the same night that Hunter Wright came all the way through the field and finished in the top 3. Coming to green off of turn 4, Isabella Robusto. Hudson Bolger, final night of the 2024 World Series, is underway from New Smyrna Speedway. Off of turn number 2, it's the 17 of Bolger going into the lead. The battle for the number 2 spot. Robusto on the inside, running the high lane. Last night's winner, George Phillips.
Here comes Phillips to the outside. A nice charge. Give him P2 right now for the young man out of North Carolina.
Hunter Wright, what a run on the outside lane off of turn number 2. That run in the second groove, outstanding. Looking for the 2-for-1. Got around Robusto, now working around Phillips. Wright up against the outside retaining wall to the line, has place.
Hunter Wright is not playing it safe. He's not going to just finish this race and get a championship. He's charging hard on the outside, but just right there, fades up a little bit, settles into the 3rd spot.
Single file top 3, battle for the number 4 spot. Phillips has 2nd, Wright has 3rd. It's the 00 of Renfrew now, moving into the number 4 spot. Robusto to 5th. That's a backup car for Robusto. She's been driving a white entry all week long. Goes to the backup car for the final night after that crash last night evening early.
Now side by side is Katie Hettinger and Robusto. The battle is on right there. The 2 young ladies of the late model division, and a battle for the lead up at front, as well as the number 8 car of George Phillips is starting to peek to the inside of Hudson Bolger in turn number 3, coming out of 4. They're side by side.
Some contact made right as they approach the finish line. It's the 8 of Phillips down on the bottom of the racetrack. Bolger on the outside. Here comes Hunter Wright. 3-car battle for the number 1 spot. Maybe a little too for it, just 5 laps in. So Wright says, I'll be patient. I'll wait a little longer. But if they slip up again as they bang doors, coming to the line, new leader is Phillips. It's a tight one. 4-car battle for the lead.
Phillips and Bolger putting on a show early on in the heart-to-heart 100. Waiting patiently is Wright. And now here comes Renfrew. Shot to the bottom.
It's exciting in the early laps of the heart-to-heart 100. Single file top 2. Phillips, Bolger, battle for 3rd. To the inside of Wright is Jimmy Renfrew. Katie Hettinger right behind them. Isabella Robusto, Dawson Sutton. Top 7 qualifiers shuffling positions early.
Hettinger right now behind that battle saying, which lane do I want? Which lane do I want? And there's 2 side-by-side battles now as Isabella Robusto is fading backwards. And here comes Dawson Sutton into the mix.
It's a long race, the longest one of the week for the pro late models, but they're not racing like it in the early laps tonight. They know how important it is with the field parity that we have to maybe get out front and control the pace of this race. Hunter Wright racing for 3rd on the outside of Renfrew. You know he wants to impress tonight after a disappointing DQ the other night. He wants to say, here's my backup engine. I'm going to go out here and run well tonight. And he's doing so right now in the 3rd spot. Hettinger on the inside of Hunter Wright for 4th.
Hettinger pokes her nose to the bottom of Wright. Wright drifts down a little bit, pinching her on entry there, making her get off throttle. Hunter Wright is going to have that P4 spot down the back straightaway, but now Hettinger getting a little bit of a push from Dawson Sutton.
Well, she's running strong on that inside lane. It's tough in these pro late models to keep your momentum up. It's not like a super late model where you have that extra horsepower to make a run from the bottom, pinching it across the inside lane. But Hunter Wright will hang on to 4th. She gets back up in line. Dawson Sutton now trying to punch his way into the top 5.
Your leader up front, George Phillips. in control of this race. 12 laps on the board right now. Hudson Bulger in the second spot. Now we're starting to file in, single file, all the way around this racetrack.
Closing on the back of the field, it's the 45 of Mike Mayberry running in 14th by himself. And that's the only car that is anywhere in front of race leader George Phillips. Bulger running second, Renfrew right, Hettinger the rest of the top 5. Sutton dropping in line, Robusto stays with him, Nicholas Noggle joining the lead pack. But you see all the way back to 8th position in the lead pack in the early laps of the Heart to Heart 100.
And just like that, here comes Hunter Wright to the bottom of Renfro's machine. Couldn't get through 1 and 2 very well. He tucks in behind. That gives the momentum to Katie Hettinger. You were just talking about momentum, and you saw it right there on display. The number 29 had to get out of the throttle just a little skosh, and it backed him up right to Hettinger.
Hettinger having a very good run early in the 71 car. She qualified third fast, and she's showing race speed as well. She's running 5th right in front of top qualifier Dawson Sutton, and in front of her is Hunter Wright, the 2 stars of the Pro Late Models this week.
Dawson Sutton making his presence known in the rearview mirror of Katie Hettinger, looking high, looking low. Definitely trying to see what is going to be the lane, and he now pinching off the turn number 4. A great move, textbook style, to get underneath Hettinger. They're side by side in turn 1 and 2.
Loses some momentum, and she's able to get the run off of turn number 2 as we're closing on lap 20. 18 will go on the board this time, back to single file, but Dawson Sutton's ready to go. You can see he has speed in the car, got right up against the rear bumper of Hettinger a lap ago, and now for 7th position. Side-by-side battle. Nicholas Noggles run the Pro Late the last couple of nights. Pretty good success there with top 5 runs. Concentrated on the Super a lot earlier in the week.
Noggle to the bottom side of Isabella Robusto, who started this race from the point and has now fallen back to the 8th position. Noggle, a little bit of contact there in turn number 1 and turn number 2. And as they dance off down the back straightaway, this is the battle everybody's eyes are on.
Side-by-side battle continues for the number 7 spot. Isabella Robusto has it. Nicholas Noggle wants to take it away. 20 laps down, 80 to go, and Robusto, for the time being, will hang on to it. While they were battling hard the last couple of laps, they've kind of lost some ground to the top 6. Leading the way, George Phillips, last night's winner, doing a nice job out there in the number 8 car for the second night. Started the week in a 55 ride to the 15-year-old, but tonight, driving the 8 again, looking to go 2 for 2 behind the wheel of that car. Finished second on opening night before having an issue in practice on night 2, and we didn't see him again until last night.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, high atop this tower that we're announcing from is Brian Kramer. And Brian Kramer is a veteran spotter, a former modified racer from New Jersey, and he's the spotter for the number 8 car right there of George Phillips. And I guarantee you what we saw there was him getting too much of a lead and him backing up his driver. But now the battle's on for second place.
Renfrew jumps to the low side, heading down into turn 1, goes up the track, will take it away from Bulger. Hunter Wright will look to the inside as well. Closing on the 1/4 mark of the event, and Jimmy Renfrew Jr. coming to the front, the 00 out of New Hampshire. Young competitor that is having solid week and looks to finish it strong tonight. Did not start last night's race, but is up to second tonight.
You mean New Hampshire, right? Little New Hampshire.
I thought that's what, I mispronounced it a little bit, actually, yes.
Well, hey, here comes Hunter Wright, your points leader, cashing in on that little bit of an opportunity. Man, you nailed it there when you talk about momentum with these Pro Late models. And you saw it right there again. Hudson Bulger loses a little bit of momentum, and here comes to 29, and he gets the P3 spot.
Right behind them, right behind Bulger, running in that 5th position is Katie Hettinger, and she's been able to hold off Dawson Sutton so far, but he's ready to pounce again in the 26, taking a look to the inside for the 5th position. Dawson Sutton has made numerous attempts and now closing on traffic ahead. It's the 45 of Mayberry. That's going to be a pick and is going to cost him a few car lengths. Mayberry couldn't get any lower at that point, and it almost allows the 28 car of Robusto to get a run at the 26. So now we've separated the top 6 or so, all about equal distance apart in this Pro Late model feature.
Mayberry's done a good job tonight getting out of the way of everybody, but right there was nothing he could do in 3 and 4. If he went any lower right there, he'd be scraping the inside wall.
Be down on the apron of the racetrack, down on the flat, coming to the pits. But it's the 8 of Phillips out front. The 00 Renfrew trying to close the gap. Phillips was about 0.2 quicker last time by. Let's see how the times come across on lap 29. A 19.1 and a 19.1. Phillips was again slightly quicker that time than Renfrew, so he's not closing the gap, but it's so early in this race, and we've seen it how many times over the years, and we're going to see it tonight probably in that Tour Type Modified race where somebody uses up their stuff a little bit too much early.
Yeah, the pace is sort of calmed down in this race for much of the runners, looking at the lap times, not just the tires, okay, but also the race pace, knowing that it's a 100-lap race and we're only 30 laps into this thing. So, you know, you might look and say, hey, Renfrew's charging right now, but that number 8 car might also be backing up to him a little, trying to save the rubber on the right side of that car.
Matthew Dillner, Jacqueline Drake, Adam Mackey bringing you the action from the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing on the 8th and what is the final night of our World Series here in 2024. Going to determine some champions tonight in the Pro Late Model and Tour Type Modified division, and some big race winners in those 100-lap affairs as Dawson Sutton trying to set up yet another run. He's done it numerous times. He's been unable to complete it. When he gets to the inside, Hettinger gives him room, but she is able to use her momentum on corner exit to pull back forward. See if she can do it this time. Pretty good run for Dawson Sutton. Rackley War Racing number 26 to the low side.
Dawson Sutton has a hammer and a chisel out, and little by little, he's hammering away and trying to chisel out that position. Look at how he's masterfully working to the bottom right there, which is not an easy thing to do, especially coming off of turn number 4 where the car wants to unload.
And now he pulls up wheel to wheel beside Hettinger. He's got the lane almost. Let's see if he drives it in extra deep to turn number 3. Sutton on the inside drives it in a little bit deeper than Hettinger. Almost has her cleared, not quite yet. She gets that run off of turn number 4. It's a battle right now for the 5th position. Sutton has it at the line, and in turn 1 and 2 clears the 71. A lot of hard work, but some patience at the same time for Sutton makes the move.
Yeah, he really had to work at that one. That's something I've been impressed with that young man, because at times he seems to be a little flashy, you know, a lot of speed, but right there was what I like to call, a lot of people call racecraft. He was employing proper racecraft right there and not driving her up into the hot dog stand or Pat's Clam Shack, as they like to say down here in New Smyrna.
Somebody will end up out by Pat's Clam Shack before the end of the night.
I like fried clams, so I might be there.
They have Shark Bites, Clam Shack.
Shark Bites in the infield here. If you've never been here to New Smyrna, the Shark Bite Cafe in the infield. The Shark Bites are excellent.
You know, for a lot of people across the U.S., and they listen to our broadcast, they may not know that this is the Shark Bite capital of the world.
But the infield here or the beach?
The actual water.
Oh, okay. Well, right there, you see that Hunter Wright has closed into the back bumper of Randy Renfrew's car. The battle is now going to be on for the 2nd position here in the heart-to-heart 100.
Yeah, Hunter Wright stepping it up a little bit in the 29 ride. Different car tonight than what he was competing in last night, that he was able to end up finishing. Looked like a modified without a nose piece, fenders, or a hood, but he garnered valuable points toward the championship as he looks for that. And there's still some cars out there. We'll see how many he's actually running. He might have about clinched it at this point.
2 good battles going on right now, because you're looking at the battle with the 00 and the 29, and Dawson Sutton has closed in on the 4th position as well, right behind them. So the fans here getting treated to 2 great battles on the racetrack here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Still 14 cars on the racetrack, so the point championship not clinched yet for Hunter Wright, who runs in 3rd. Dawson Sutton, his closest challenger, in the 26, right there, racing behind the 17 of Hudson Bolger for the number 4 position. Bolger, kind of the same career path as a lot of those guys from Nashville, running Legends and then moving up into Pro Late Models. Bolger doing it at Watermelon Capital Speedway for the most part. State of Georgia, Legends very popular there.
Yeah, Legends cars all across the country. A really twitchy race car, and especially when they used to be on those old BFGs. Now they're on a Hoosier tire, a little bit more grip. Those cars are starting to be on the rise again as far as vehicles that some of the young race car drivers are learning racing in.
We are closing on the halfway mark of the Heart to Heart 100. Leading the way is George Phillips. We're watching the battle for the number 4 spot between Hudson Bolger and Dawson Sutton. It's pro late model action. It was really exciting over the first 15 to 20 laps. The field is separated a little bit, but we've got a couple battles going on, and this one an important one for the 4th position.
What I'm really seeing here is how the 26 car gets turned in the center of the corner and then gets really good drive off. Now the challenge will be how he's going to pass him. You saw his last pass. He worked on Hettinger and got a really good run off of turn number 2 on the bottom. But when you do that, you sacrifice a little bit of drive off because the car wants to get loose on you. So that's a very tough thing to do for this young race car driver.
Hudson Bolger in the 17, making just his 2nd start of the week, was involved in the crash last week. Hunter Wright in the 29 has caught the back of the 00 of Renfrew and looks to the inside on the exit of corner 4. 2nd place now up for grabs. Hunter Wright all of a sudden says it's almost halfway. It's time to go.
Hunter Wright peaks to the bottom, but Renfrew with the great run off the corner is going to hold him off for that runner-up spot. The 00 has been one of the fastest cars all week at the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing, but Hunter Wright trying to become the champion, and he doesn't want just a championship. He wants to go to victory lane and get it both.
Hunter Wright continues to apply a little bit of pressure to Renfrew. Last time by, Phillips was about a 10th quicker than Renfrew. The separation from 1st to 2nd is 1.2 seconds. So we'll see how much that grows now that 2nd and 3rd are in a battle, and actually shrunk a little bit that time. So Renfrew got up on the wheel.
What I'm seeing also is the pace has picked up. With the top 5 cars, the lap times have actually gone up a little, and you see that where the 8 car is stretched out, and there goes Dawson Sutton diving in to get the 4th position. That number 26 is on the move, but the race pace is starting to pick up a little here. The 8 car has stretched it out. Now Renfrew's battling right. Now Dawson Sutton's on a charge. These guys are turning up the wick midway into this race.
Dawson Sutton last time by was the fastest car in our top 10, and we are just past the halfway mark. 51 goes on the board there, 49 laps to go, and George Phillips leads the way in cruise control out front in this very clean race so far from New Smyrna Speedway.